Hi, Brandon Walker. We didn't test my mic, but somehow it worked anyway. Brandon Walker, more Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast here on SEC Country. For now, we are coming to you from the SEC Country studios in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. Nice and rainy and gray outside. I've got my ballin' Mississippi State maroon pullover here. My coach's pullover. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, I got my one cowbell. I brought this one in so I could ring it, because I'm gonna have to ring a cowbell, right? So I brought it in. And I'll ring it when the time comes. But yeah, I cleaned out my desk. All my cowbells are at my house. They're on my mantle. But they'll be back when it's time. When it's time to have my new show, more Cowbell. We'll talk about that today. We're going to talk to Steve Robertson at 11 a.m. We're going to talk to Steve about recruiting, about a little bit of everything. We'll talk about Mississippi State. Always good to have Steve on the show. We'll definitely break it down with him. We're going to discuss Mississippi State baseball. It looks like Mississippi State baseball is on the verge of a possible Grand Slam hire. Jim Schlossnagle at TCU. We'll discuss that. Mississippi State really liked by Athlon. Athlon likes Mississippi State at 9-3 this year. We'll talk about that. And 2-minute drill at the end of the show. Let's see who we got. Johnny Sparks, good morning. Ringgold, Georgia. Hello, Danny E. Pinter. Carson Young says budget cuts. There's only one cowbell. Yeah. Yep, we're minimized here. Sup, B-Walk. Solo, your own gig. Thank you, Ray Leno. Rainy Morning Intelligence says Lynn Rhodes Gilmer. Dickie Delishman checking in from Noonan, Georgia. And Wayman Hodge from Aberdeen. Hail State from Hattiesburg. Adam Harper. Excuse me, not Eamon. Adam Harper. It's ADAM. No video or audio, says Ray Leno. That might be your computer issue there, Ray. Is there video or audio? I mean, I see myself.
No, there's nothing.
Hail State from Orange County, California. Ed Casilla. First time I've ever seen Ed here. Ed, have I got bad news for you? Hail State from Hazelhurst. Michael Clyburn. Harry Ellis from Lexington, Mississippi. Chandra Gordon-Smith says she loves the shirt. Thank you very much. I love the shirt, too. This is my favorite thing I've gotten from Maroon & Company. Maroon & Company in Starkville. Check them out. Hail State from Jackson. Deborah Williams-Pace. Frank Carter says morning. Hello. Chris Crawford. Hello. Tracy Davis from West Point. Hello. Greenswell, Louisiana. Kenny Manning is on the road. Is TCU coach for sure going to state? Jimmy Aycock. I don't think it's for sure, but it's certainly, there's a lot of smoke to that fire right now. Good morning, Brandon. Columbus, Mississippi in the house. Bobby Richardson. Pass Christian, Mississippi. Is it Pass Christian or Pass Christiane? Isn't it? Don't you say it funny? Hail State and Go Tennessee Tech baseball from Toby Denton. Yes, Go Tennessee Tech. Go team. Are they the Eagles? I don't know. Hail State from Columbus, Ohio again. Alan Redmond. Okay. So once we start the podcast, I'll have the discussion with you. I am going out on my own. This show will continue. I am going to go into business for myself. The show's not going anywhere. It's going to look different. The studio won't look the same. But I have started my own Facebook page for my show. Terp, if you can you get that in the comment section for me so they can link, so the people can go straight to it? Mm-hmm. And we'll get that pinned up top. In fact, if you could link both the Patreon page and the Facebook there. So that's the new Facebook page for my new show. We'll just roll right over into that show when the time comes. June 30th is my last day here. We'll roll right into that show. More Cowbell on Facebook. And then Patreon. Listen, I'm going to need some help. I'm going to need some assistance. I'm going to need you guys, if you want more Cowbell to keep going, if you want me to keep going at Ole Miss and doing the bedtime stories and having fun and doing this, what we're doing today, please help. Please. I got 4 kids. It's awful. Patreon.com, more Cowbell. Check that out. And we're gonna link. We're gonna pin the comment right here on the Facebook page. We're gonna pin the comment to go to facebook.com/the More Cowbell Show. That is the page where I'll be launching my new show. We'll also have a website. We don't have it yet, so check it out. Hail State, Brandon, or hello, Brandon. Hail State, Jason Brinson. Hope Cadenhead says Hail State from Starkville. Betty Pilgrim Dunn says Hail State always and forever. Jared Clark says, are you bringing Terp and Landshark with you? Oh, I'd love to be able to afford that. But one of them is very expensive. One of them is cheap. Hail stay from Byram, Sinbad. Good to see you. All right, so we got. I don't think you can pin 2 comments. That's the problem. We got those. We got those up there. We got the Facebook page. We got the Patreon page. Check those out in the comments section, please. All right, what else are we going to talk about? We'll have Steve Robertson on the show to talk recruiting at 11 o'clock. We will have. We'll talk about Jim Schlossnagle, the TCU coach. It looks like that. Boy, it looks like that could be happening. We'll talk about Athlon really liking Mississippi State, and then we've got a 2-minute drill at the end of the show. Hail State from Baton Rouge, Jennifer Tipton. Hail State from Tupelo, Dave McDaniel. Hail State, says Joy Dees. Thank you, Joy, for being here. Hail State from Tupelo again, Dave McDaniel. Oh, I've already read his comment. Excuse me. Pardon me. So we're going to do all that. I guess, Terp, if you're ready. Oh, I need to get Jay Langston. If you're watching, you know what? I'll say this on the podcast. I'm ready. You ready? Let's go.
It's the More Cowbell Show, brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
That's me, Brandon Walker, More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast here on SEC Country for now. Coming to you from the SEC Country studios in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. That is the Lone Cowbell. Maybe we could call it the Lone Cowbell from here on out, because I cleaned my desk out as SEC Country is closing up shop on June 30th, kicking me right out the door, right on my cowbell. Yeah, you can go ahead and call him. So today on the show, More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast. We're going to talk Mississippi State football recruiting with Steve Robertson of 24/7 Sports. We'll talk about Jim Schlossnagle, the TCU coach. Awful lot of smoke to that fire. We will talk about Athlon liking Mississippi State. We'll have a 2-minute drill at the end of the show. Before I get started, I got a couple things to say. I got a couple people to thank. Jay Langston, who did my intro. Jay, I need you to holler at me. Gonna need a new intro. You know why? Got a new show, and I got to get that SEC Country stuff out of my intro. New show, Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show is where you can go. It's the launching page for what I'm going to be starting. I'm going into business for myself. I don't want to work for anybody else anymore. I want to make money on my own. I want to do this to where nobody else has control over it. If I want to cuss, I'm going to cuss. If I want to say bad things about Ole Miss, I'm going to say bad things about Ole Miss. If I want to call Auburn writers stupid, I'm going to call Auburn writers stupid. So, excuse me, I got all worked up. Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. I will need your help. I got a Patreon account. Go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. Go to More Cowbell. Search More Cowbell. I think it's patreon.com/More Cowbell. You go there, help me out. If you can donate $1, donate $1. If you can donate $5, donate $5. If you can donate 10, please donate 10. Whatever. I just need help getting this venture launched off the ground. Now, I said all that. Let's get to this show. Let's go ahead and talk about what we came to talk about. Steve Robertson covers recruiting in Mississippi State better than anybody in the world. Better than anybody. And now I've got him on the show. Steve, thank you for coming on the show for one of your last appearances on More Cowbell, the SEC Country podcast. Is he in a helicopter?
Well, I'm honored to be. I've been so happy to be a part of all this, and I'm certainly excited about your future, and excited about what is to come. And I don't know that it's possible for you to talk about Ole Miss without her.
No, absolutely not. And I've stifled myself for far too long. So. The old Brandon Walker at Bulldog Sports Radio is coming back very, very soon. I don't know if that's a good thing. Steve, are you in a helicopter right now?
No, I'm actually turning off my car. I'm actually on the way home from South Mississippi, and I don't want you to have any background noise, so I've stopped in Meridian, Mississippi, and been listening to Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and so we're taking a break from that to visit with you.
All right. Well, we better do this interview quickly since he's Meridian. He'll be shot soon. So let's go ahead and no, I love Meridian. I lived there for 2 years. Meridian, you're great. If you're watching from Meridian, God bless you. Now, number one, Steve, talking about recruiting, the quiet period is almost over. It's been kind of a lull since Mississippi State got its last commitment about 6 weeks ago, but summer camp season is cranking up very soon. What should Mississippi State fans watch out for in recruiting over the next few weeks?
Offensive line recruiting, I think, is going to be really important. There's a lot of guys out there that have an offer from State, but you haven't got a real sense State is push for a commitment. And what I read into that is Marcus Johnson's going to want to work those guys out in camp. He's got a lot of guys that are kind of similarly situated that appear to be kind of equal prospects. Those guys will come to camp that work out with Marcus, and everybody will try each other on for sides. And I believe that's when you're kind of going to see this offensive line recruiting train kind of pick up its pace on the track. We expected there to be kind of a lull, as you mentioned, during the evaluation period. Spring eval is going on now for the better part of 6 weeks. It does wrap up this week. But this territory is relatively new to these coaches. So we knew there were a lot of guys out there they wanted to get out and see in person before they kind of prioritized them as recruiting targets. And so that's not unexpected. I know Bulldog fans think, man, it's been a while since we've had a commitment. This is something that we've anticipated throughout the process. There would be this lull during spring eval, but business is about to pick up in a major way with spring camp.
I'd like to say that Weidman's in Meridian and downtown Meridian is delicious, and Nick and Al's Pizza is my favorite pizza in all of Mississippi. It's in Meridian. Go check it out. Meridian's a beautiful place. Now, second question. You mentioned it very quickly there at the beginning. My second question was always this, but you already mentioned it. State fans want to know offensive line recruiting. You know, Hevesy and Mullen didn't leave offensive line recruiting in the greatest place. They haven't signed that many in recent years, so Moorhead's kind of behind the 8 ball. How does he fix that?
Well, I think, number one, you've got to go out and probably sign a couple of junior college guys. It'll be stopgap guys because you've got some very talented interior linemen that are going to be moving on after this year. And Deion Calhoun, Elton Jenkins, I think both of those guys will be in the NFL camp next year. But you've got some guys behind them that either hadn't panned out or hadn't really developed or have left the program. And so as a result, there is a little bit of a problem with the 2 deep for 2019. So I think you've got to go out and find some guys that you expect Tyree Phillips and Tommy Chancellor, of course, to come back strong after the redshirt year. And all we heard about Tyree Phillips last year is he was one of State's best offensive linemen. But you do say, you know what, offensive line recruiting hasn't been great, but we're going to return a really good offensive line. Had a really good one last year. But I think you've got to get a couple stopgap guys, but then you can't just depend on junior college guys. You've got to go out and get you some, probably 3 high school guys, get them in the pipeline, because you can't continue to go ahead and depend on junior college. And I've long said that I would sign a junior college offensive line and or D lineman every single year if I'm Mississippi State, because you've got the benefit of this great junior college system here in the state of Mississippi. And Mississippi does not produce SEC quality linemen on the regular out of the high school range. So I think it's smart to maybe a little bit judicious to do that. But this year, I think you've got to go out and probably get a couple of junior college guys to allow those young guys to develop. Then we'll kind of move forward. But I think it'll be a 5 offensive lineman class if we move forward to Sunday.
Just want to mention that Jimmy Rogers, a legendary country music artist from right there in beautiful downtown Meridian. Wonderful place. Third question here, Steve. A lot of State fans want to know, is State possibly going to add a second quarterback recruit? Already got 4-star Garrett Schrader. I know you would like to, but that's very difficult in this day and age when quarterbacks transfer all the time to actually get a second quality quarterback recruit. Can State pull that off?
I think they will, but I think it'll be much later in the process. And you kind of mentioned an interesting quandary there. Nobody is going to be fired up in the month of June to go be a second quarterback in a 2-quarterback class. Everybody right now feels like, you know what, I can be a guy. There's somebody out there that wants me to be a starter. And so with the benefit of my senior tape, I think I can convince somebody that I should be their guy. The problem with that is there's not going to be a lot of 1-quarterback spots left after your senior year. And so what I think State will do and what I expect them to do is continue to target these real athletic-type guys, guys like John Reese Plumlee, guys like Peter Parrish. But you know what? If they don't pan out at quarterback, they can go play on a position for you, whether it be slot receiver or safety. And so I think that's the attitude that Joe Moorhead has right now is, you know, we've got our guy that we feel fits our offensive system perfectly, but let's go get the best athlete available to make sure, number one, that we're handled at quarterback. Because it's been a while since State had 4 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster. If you remember, 3 of those 4 guys left when they didn't win the starting job when Nick Fitzgerald beat them out. And to be fair, and to be blunt, Nick was the best of the 4 by far. And so the guys that didn't make it, Lodge Staley, Nick Piano, Danny Williams, everybody leaves. And listen, you only get a short time in life to play football, so I encourage you to go somewhere you can play rather than to just be a tackling dummy or a clipboard holder. But State's not going to target a guy like that. I think State's going to go out just like they did with Nick Fitzgerald. Get a Lodge Staley in the boat, and go get Nick Fitzgerald as the guy that's an athletic quarterback. If it doesn't pan out, he can play somewhere else. So I expect that to happen, but it'll probably be December before we know who that second quarterback is.
Here is a name that has come out of absolutely nowhere. I think in a New Orleans camp or somewhere down Louisiana, a Mississippi 2019 recruit ran something like a 4.18 or a 4.2, something ridiculous, just smoked the rest of the field. Who is Keelan Harrison?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I kind of, all due respect to him, I'd like to hold a stopwatch on a kid that could run a legitimate 4.1. Anytime I see those numbers.
But you saw the reports I saw, right?
I saw them. And I've had some guys that run really fast straight lines for me that weren't necessarily great football players. And again, that's got to do with him. But when a guy goes to camp and turns in those kind of numbers, the first thing you got to go do is pull up his tape, because does that translate well to the field? Yeah, he may have the natural ability, but there's a lot of guys out there running track that aren't great football players. And again, that's no shade to him. I think when you go to camps like that and you have an explosive performance, it gets you on the radar. It doesn't get you a scholarship, but it gets the process going. So for a guy like him, this could be what he needed to kind of get on the college football recruiting radar.
What distance would I have to put the sticks for you to run a 4.1?
Maybe 30 yards.
30 yards? I was going to say, for me, like 15, because the start is what's going to get me. Let me go on to another. I got two more questions for you. So we talk about quarterbacks and we talk about offensive recruiting, and whatever the summer brings, it brings. But how do you think recruits are going to react when they see Joe Moorhead's offense in action for the first time at Mississippi State? Because right now, recruits really don't know what the offense is going to look like. They can talk about it. Maybe they can go see some Penn State film. But I have a feeling Joe Moorhead's going to put a very visually appealing product on the field this year. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I do 100%. It reminds a little bit of, when Dan Mullen came, he would say, well, it was Urban Meyer's offense. It took a while for Urban to kind of get going without Dan, too. I mean, they were a good combination. But I think Dan initially was very innovative and exciting. I think over his tenure in Mississippi State, he got a little more conservative. Joe Moorhead is anything but conservative, and I think you're right. He'll be very innovative, and all this shifting and motions that he does to kind of set up matchups, I think will make kids realize that Joe Moorhead's going to know how to utilize your skill set. He'll find a way to get you in a place where you can be successful. And so I expect that to happen. I love the Penn State film that I saw when we first heard that Joe Moorhead was a candidate for the job. And you go watch that stuff, and it kind of think to yourself, could this really happen in State? Could you really have a guy like this that really gets it? And Dan Mullen did a great job in Mississippi State utilizing the talent that we had in State to be successful. But I believe Joe can kind of take this thing to a level, because really, I think in many respects, Joe is going to be a better recruiter than Dan Mullen, and is going to bring better talent to Starkville than what Dan Mullen did.
All right, last question on the recruiting front. So you got Mississippi State, you got Joe Moorhead, you got everything in line. Summer camps are coming up. It's about to get busy again. Who do you think might be the next player to commit to Mississippi State?
Man, that is a great question.
Thank you.
I would say Keziah Pruitt, because I've been saying that for 6 months. But for some reason, he's been laid out of the gate. I think there's some other guys out there, certainly that are close. I think that, looking around the state of Mississippi, I could see, Derek Moore making a decision, pretty with Jack Harris is the guy that talked about out of Oak Grove. He was going to get through the spring. Well, spring is ended here in a few days. And so I think those guys are probably pretty good candidates. I think State's going to be in a good position with those guys. Jack Harris is probably the next big in-state domino to fall, and right now I feel good about where State stands for him.
One bonus question on the 2-minute drill today. My last question is, what is the best classic rock song of all time? What is your opinion? The best classic rock song of all time?
Well, I want to share with you a couple things. Ian, my youngest, is 12, is with me, and he believes the greatest rock song of all time is Paradise City from Guns N' Roses. Now, I think you can make that argument. I think, number one, that says a lot about what I'm doing as a parent, that he feels that way.
Yes.
But in my mind, the greatest classic rock song of all time is Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas.
Carry On, My Wayward Son by Kansas. That's the greatest classic rock song of all time. Well, that is Steve Robertson's opinion. Thank you very much for that, Steve. I don't know if I share that opinion because whatever. I'll think about it. But hey, I do like Ian. I'm on Team Ian right here. I do love Paradise City.
And I'll be honest, I thought about this earlier today when I was driving. I think the marketing team at every baseball game for the rest of our lifetime, they should play Paradise City in the pregame at Drury Noble Field. I think that should become a new tradition. Nobody does it, and we do have the green grass, and the girls are certainly pretty at Mississippi State. So we should advertise that as often as we can.
Fantastic. Great idea. Steve, listen, I don't know what this show's going to become, but I hope, when I go wherever I go in the future, you'll still help me out because it does help me out when you come on the show. I appreciate it, buddy.
Well, you're saying that we're going to be able to curse on the next show, so that makes it more appealing to me.
That's Steve Robertson. Thanks, Steve. That is Steve Robertson from 24/7 Sports. Yeah, we are going to be able to, well, I don't know if I'll just flaunt it. My wife is watching right now, so she's not going to approve of that. I do need to watch my language, Terp. Cussing is probably my worst thing that I do in life.
Had a couple close calls.
I've had a couple close calls on this show. I have. I just, why say a regular word when you can say a cuss word? All right. Number 2. So this is the big thing. Jim Schlossnagle, TCU. TCU message boards are on fire. TCU newspapers out there in Fort Worth and Dallas, the columnists, they're on fire. Everything out there looks like they are prepared, or they're getting prepared to lose Jim Schlossnagle, the coach who has been to 5 College World Series. They are prepared. They're getting ready. They might be about to lose him to Mississippi State. Mississippi State hiring a baseball coach, John Cohen, former baseball coach, is the AD. They've invested $60 million to a baseball facility. They are going to invest heavily in a coach. There's been so much talk about Dan McDonnell and Tim Corbin and Jim Schlossnagle. I would say those are the 3 names that have kind of been circling the most in recent weeks. And right now, the temperature seems to be the hottest on Jim Schlossnagle. And whether it's him or it isn't, let's just assume it is for right now. Let's assume it is. It's an absolute, it's not a home run hire. It's a grand slam hire. It's a, we plan to win national championships in Mississippi State. It's a, we plan to be the center of the college baseball universe. To do that, we can't go out and get an up-and-coming guy. We can't take a shot on a guy who might be good. We have to go out and get somebody who is assuredly going to be good. Somebody who can bring a brand to Mississippi State, join it with our brand, and create something explosive. That is what Cohen is trying to do. If he hires Jim Schlossnagle, it is a gigantic explosion in the college baseball world. College baseball coaches, the big-time guys, don't move that much. This isn't like football. They don't move that much. And if Mississippi State can attract somebody like this, it is a seismic shift. It's a huge statement in college baseball. State going to Tallahassee this weekend to play Oklahoma on Friday. Hopefully play Florida State on Saturday, or whoever wins that game on the other side. Certainly, number 7 national seed Florida State is a good baseball team. I don't know that it's the scariest regional State could have gotten. It's not a bad spot. State has gone to Tallahassee and won regionals before. In fact, in 2007, when State went to the College World Series, it was a very similar setup. Not exactly the same, but a similar setup, as State was in Tallahassee, and they eventually got Clemson to play in Super Regional. This year, they would play the winner of the Clemson Regional. Again, not the exact same setup, but very, very similar, as Mississippi State looks to continue this run. I don't know. It looks like John Cohen is not going to announce the new head coach until State's season is over. I want State to go to a Super Regional. I want them to go to the College World Series. If Mississippi State loses this weekend, I don't lose any excitement, though. I don't say, oh, I'm very sad. I don't say, oh, the season or the summer's here, all sports are finished. No, I'm ready to find out who the coach is. The excitement will only be beginning when that happens. It's a very, very unique situation. And I just want to say, I'm going to save this till after the hire is made. But if John Cohen hires Jim Schlossnagle, what an incredible job he did managing an embarrassing situation. As soon as Cannizzaro, we found out about that, he was gone. It could have been a terrible situation. Gary Henderson did a good job getting the team to the end of the season, end of the NCAA tournament. And now if John Cohen can turn that terrible situation on its ear and turn it into hiring Jim Schlossnagle, what an incredible job navigating very choppy waters. I'm not sure other athletic directors we've had in the past could pull that off. We'll see if John Cohen does. Athlon loves Mississippi State. I bought the Athlon magazine this weekend. And if you buy the preseason magazines, I always say they're trash. I don't read them. But as soon as I see them in Kroger, I'm going to buy one. And it's going to be in my reading room. It's going to be in my reading room for the next 6 months. My reading room is my bathroom. That's where it's going to be. So it's going to be there, and I'm going to read it. Athlon picks Mississippi State to go 9-3, and Mississippi State is all over that magazine. They've got 9 All-SEC players. Every question they ask, it's, Joe Moorhead could be one of the best coaching hires. Very, very, very complimentary. So if you haven't picked one up, or if you don't pick those up, if you say, nah, they don't know what they're talking about, or it's just trash, you might pick this one up because they are very, very complimentary of Mississippi State, and they're very excited about what Mississippi State can do this fall in football. 2-minute drill. Last 5 questions on the show. I ask you on Facebook Live, on Twitter, on YouTube. Are we still streaming on Twitter, by the way? We are. Wow. Look at that. Sparing no expense for Brandon Walker and more cowbell here. My one little cowbell. Number 1, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy would you be with the hire of Jim Schlossnagle as Mississippi State's baseball coach? Scale of 1 to 10, how happy would you be with the hire? You would say a 4, Turp. That's because you're just a jerk. That's how you are. Scale of 1 to 10, how happy would you be with Jim Schlossnagle as the hire as Mississippi State's baseball coach? Got 2 10s. Stan C. Riddle says an 8. Chad Mass says 15. Frank Carter says 10. Martin Smith says 20. 10, 10, 8. 9.9 from Steve Martin. Junior Ray says Point City. Somehow that's correct. Ginger Tuck says 20. Derek Myers cusses and then says 12. Kirk Misso says 100. Well, you got to keep it 100. Where's your bow tie? Sorry, I'm just not in the mood for ties day today. I'm sorry. Plus, I forgot it was Tuesday. I thought it was Monday. Why 1 cowbell? Did you get demoted? Boy, have I got bad news for you. 10, 10. I'm still trying to pronounce his name, says Stephen Turner. Hayes Ezel says 10. J.W. Stowers has the biggest number so far, 1,000. By the way, since I had a question there, we are going to be off SEC Country closing very soon. So June 30th, our last day at SEC Country. More cowbell will continue. I'm going into business for myself. Facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. Please go like that. Go like that page right now, and that's going to be our launching point. But I do need money. I need to buy a camera. I need to buy a computer. I need to buy a couple of things. I got a little money, but I need some help. Patreon.com, More Cowbell. Please help keep More Cowbell going. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. I'm going to continue giving you this show, giving you positive Mississippi State news, giving you a voice in the Mississippi State, or excuse me, a voice in the media that doesn't kowtow to Ole Miss or the SEC. I am pro Mississippi State all the way. Number 2 on the 2-minute drill. Number 2 on the 2-minute drill. In sports and TV sports. So not Jack Crystal, he's a radio guy. Who is your favorite all-time play-by-play announcer on TV and sports? Your all-time favorite play-by-play TV sports announcer. Al Michaels, certainly very good. Howard Cosell was good. Pat Summerall.
Tony Romo.
Vern Lundquist, he's not play-by-play.
No.
Play-by-play. Jim Nantz.
I like Jim Nantz.
I'm just naming guys. I don't think any of these guys are the best. Mike Breen. Marv Albert. Keith Jackson. Vin Scully, says Derek Whitford. Keith Jackson, says Lynn Rhodes Gilmore. Vin Scully. Keith Jackson. Harry Carey, says Martin Smith. That's good. Skip Carey might be my favorite of all time. Keith Jackson, Bob Costas, Kurt Gowdy, Howard Cosell, Keith Jackson, Harry Carey, Keith Jackson. I was not a Keith Jackson fan. He screams not SEC to me. He was, he screams Pac-10, Big 12 to me. Or Big 10, excuse me. Skip Carey, Dandy Don Meredith, Brent Musburger, Dizzy Dean. Did he do it? I thought he made charcoal. Vern is the devil, says Joy Dees. That's not nice. I once saw, I will say this, in the press box before the Auburn game in 2014, Vern Lundquist took a bathroom break right before CBS went on the air, and as he was walking back into the booth right there to get started, he was going to be on the air in 2 minutes. A young State fan stopped him and wanted to talk, and Vern Lundquist talked to that guy. talked to him, shook his hand, took a picture, turned, went, grabbed the mic, and was on the air. It was amazing. It was very nice. So Vern Lundquist always won points for me seeing that. Number 3. What is your favorite Saturday Night Live skit of all time? Your favorite Saturday Night Live skit ever? Landshark, you never watch Saturday Night Live. Terp, you're in the bed by 9 o'clock. What's that? More Cowbell.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one.
That was pretty easy. What? Boy, how stupid am I?
It's very dumb.
But all right. Favorite Saturday Night Live skit of all time. More Cowbell, of course. J Stubbs says D in the box. That was good. Hans and Franz. I might agree with it. Peyton Manning throwing the football with the kids. That was terrific. More Cowbell. Sofa King, says Toby Denton. Eddie Murphy doing Buckwheat. Buckwheat sings. Una panuna banca. All right. Chappelle, Walking Dead. That was pretty good. Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer. That was Phil Hartman. The Church Lady. Chris Farley's Chippendale. That might be the answer. Chris Farley and doing his Chippendales tryout was unbelievable. That might be my favorite. The motivational speaker, Matt Foley. Anything with Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon. Motivational speaker, Two Wild and Crazy Guys, The Bears, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. That was Eddie Murphy. Sweaty Balls, Alec Baldwin. That was unbelievable. Have you ever seen that? Yeah, that's really good.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. The Mike Myers scene as the hypo. Yes. Have we not seen More Cowbell? Have not seen More Cowbell. Well, you need to check it out. That's one of the more famous ones ever in the history of Saturday Night Live. The Blues Brothers and Samurai. Number 4, we're going long today. What's the best Memorial Day food? Best food to eat off a grill on Memorial Day. I don't know if you had it yesterday. It was rainy here. I didn't grill. I grilled Sunday. But what's the best Memorial Day food? Let's see you guys thinking about it over there. You had ribs.
I got ribs. I had steaks.
You had steaks. I had steaks too. Yeah. Ribs. Barbecue. That's cheating. All right. Of course, barbecue. Who's the higher? Jim Schlossnagel, I hope. Steak, burnt hot dogs. Brian Lippincott says burnt hot dogs. That is a Lone Oak specialty, isn't it? Brats with cheese in the middle. Hamburgers, hot dogs. Ribs or shrimp? Ribs and tater salad, says Tim Franks. Got to be ribs, says Dickie Delishman. I bought a Boston butt to do on the grill yesterday and then just didn't have the motivation to do it. Thank you, Kane Martin, for the Patreon usage. I appreciate that. Anything cooked on the grill, says Jennifer Tempton. Wings, says Kevin Wilcher. Wings are good for any time. Conica sausage dogs. Why is Conica sausage so good? And I'm probably not saying that right. Ribs and beer. Although Derek Myers, you said rubs and beer, which is also entertaining. That's also a good time can also be had while getting a rub and a beer. Low country boil, brisket. All right, number 5. I've already asked this on the show. I asked Steve Robertson. His answer was "Carry On My Wayward Son" by Kansas. What is the best classic rock song of all time? The best classic rock song there ever was. Classic rock can mean anything to you. I guess these days, it's 2018, classic rock would be like the Killers or something. But what is classic rock? What is the best classic rock song ever to you? I wouldn't mind getting a rub and a beer. AC/DC Thunderstruck, Dream On by Aerosmith, Brian Lippincott, Freebird, Richard Reif, Hotel California, Steve C., Hotel California again, Stairway to Heaven, Frank Carter, Hot Blooded, Paula Smallwood Dobbs, Freebird, Here I Go Again, I think that's Whitesnake, Bohemian Rhapsody, Freebird, Stairway to Heaven, Magic Carpet Ride, Bonnie Williamson Gable, Have a Drink on Me, AC/DC, Martin Smith, Back in Black by AC/DC, Stairway to Heaven, Hotel California. Stone Sour had a song. I missed it. It's going very quickly now. Going very quickly. Freebird, We Will Rock You, Freebird, Rock and Roll, Led Zeppelin, Won't get fooled again, says Brad Griffith. Derek Myers just keeps laughing. Derek Myers having a good time. All right, now Bad Company. Enter Sandman, Brian Rogers, Comfortably Numb. Dancing Queen by ABBA. What exactly is classic? Tony Mariotti says, I have no idea. I would think right now, like Guns N' Roses is classic rock, isn't it? I mean, it was 30 years ago. 30 years ago that album came out. Bon Jovi's classic rock, isn't it? It's depressing to think about. Does 90s grunge count? I would cut the line there. And there's nothing classic about 90s grunge. Never Gonna Change by Drive-By Truckers. Toby Denton says Derek Myers is drunk, very possibly. And good for Derek Myers if that is true. Bohemian Rhapsody, Deborah Williams Pace gets to finish us off here. All right, so that's the show. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it yet. Go to facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. Like that page. We'll get started on that show very quickly. Go to patreon.com/More Cowbell. Please give me some of your money. Just please give me some of your money. We'll shut the podcast off right here. I'll come back to Facebook Live. We'll talk. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been watching More Cowbell. I'm sorry. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast, here on What's Left of SEC Country. All right. Hi. Hello.
Hey.
What do you guys want to talk about? So where are you going to be in a couple of weeks, Terp?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Somewhere.
That makes sense.
Probably ESPN.
Probably ESPN. I think that's the next logical step for
I'm
you.
working with the SVP.
I think it goes Brandon Walker, Scott Van Pelt. Yeah. Natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if I had Scott Van Pelt's hair? It would look awful.
It would look pretty bad.
Thank God I have these headphones on so you can't see. But it would look awful. I'd look like a trophy. We're going to miss you, says Stan C. Riddle. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. That cowbell looks so lonely on itself by the table, or by itself on the table. Yeah. My lone cowbell. I kind of like the lone cowbell as a show name. Can we talk about the new show? Hell yeah, Ray Leno. We can talk about the new show. What do you want to know? I'm going to keep doing More Cowbell. I'm going to purchase some studio space. If I come back to Mississippi, we're all family here, right? Let's be honest with each other. I don't know if I'm going to be in Atlanta. I don't know if I'm going to be in Mississippi. I would like to be the heck out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'd like to come back to Mississippi. If I come back to Mississippi, I might ask if I can turn the Brandon Walker Smoking Lounge into a studio once a week, twice a week. I don't know. Looked up More Cowbell Show, and it came up with Hofstra University, Robbie Stevens. I don't know why that happened. Thomas is in the den yelling, Ole Miss sucks. That's my son. My wife. Apparently my 7-year-old is in the living room watching my show saying Ole Miss sucks. Is Schlossnagle a better hire than Louisville's coach? I think it's 1A, 1B. I think they would both be very, very similar. So either one would be fine. You can't hire both, though, so you got to choose. I think it would be very good. Man, you almost have to do it out of Starkville. Almost have to, says Tony Mariotti. So I would think, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. To be near Starkville, to be near Mississippi State, I can go to games. I can be near sponsors. It does make a lot of sense. Will you be cussing on your new show? Why does this keep coming up? I hope not. I mean, yeah, I won't be answering to anybody. How about that? I think the show will be around the same time. Wade, I think I'm going to take a different approach. I think I'm going to release the podcast every day at like 7 a.m. so you can listen to it all day. And I think I'm going to do these shows where I talk with you on Facebook Live at night, like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, something like that. Any chance of 24/7 Sports bringing you on board and expanding their offerings, says Ray Leno. I haven't heard from 24/7 Sports. My email, morecowbellshow, is open at Gmail. You want to talk about it? Fantastic. Amanda, he talks great about you. Everyone agrees he married up. Yes, that's correct. I did marry up. I found, Terp, I was looking through the garage. I cleaned out my garage this weekend, and I found an old honeymoon album of photos from me and my wife on honeymoon. My wife was smoking hot. She still is smoking hot. But oh, man. Woo! Man. I was good looking, too. I was good looking. I was about 100 pounds less than I am right now. Serious question, why would anybody rate the Schlossnagle hire less than a 10. Martin Smith, I don't know. I don't know how you can get a better hire. I don't know how you could do better. My football players in Colorado were saying go to hell, Ole Miss after the anthem. I was so proud, says Joe Goldman. Tim Frank says, why is SEC country shutting down? Tim, let me be frank. I have no idea. I don't know. It's a mystery to all of us, but June 30th, we got to get out of here. And I'm going to steal one thing per day. One thing per day I'm going to steal around the office. So I'll have a nice collection by the time June 30th rolls around. Jock Ray says, I corrected that. My wife's still smoking hot. Calm down. My wife's still smoking hot. Come on to the smoking lounge. I'll be happy to guest appear weekly. Justin Wilkerson, I don't know if that can happen. You violate the number. Well, there's only one rule here on More Cowbell, and you would violate it. Do you think Henderson will still be on the new staff? I do not, Michael Clyburn. I do not think. I think Gary Henderson did a good job, but I don't think he'll be on Mississippi State staff next year. If you're hiring a big-time coach, you're hiring a guy that can build his own staff. You're hiring a guy that can bring his own guys. So I don't think you would, Gary Henderson would be on the staff. How much for that TV in the back? Well, see, Dog Nation continues. They're not getting shut down, so they're going to keep using the studio. So I can't steal the TV. Not that one anyway. So, all right. Any other questions here? I know you've got a lot of questions as we've gone through a period of change. Change is never good. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to keep doing my show. And I have a feeling my family and I will be headed back to Mississippi shortly. I've got some opportunities here in Atlanta. I've got some opportunities back in Mississippi. I'll have a day job, but I want to keep doing this. I enjoy doing this. And to do that, I'm going to need a little bit of help from you guys, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go into business for myself. I'm not answering to people. I'm not going to just be floating out there. So when an executive decides, hey, we're shutting them down, it's not going to affect me because I'm going to be the executive. You're still going to have the music. Jay Langston, who did my music, hopefully he emails me very soon. I want him to do a new intro for me, just taking out the SEC country. That's all. Thank you, BW. We love your show. Thank you, Jason Brinson. Who will be the new coach? Shelly Dito Lee. Jim Schlossnagle from TCU appears to be the front runner. 5 College World Series appearances to his name, including the last 4 years. Why do they keep going? They do a good job at Dog Nation. That's all. I don't know. How can we give a one-time donation? Grace Thacker, good question. I'll effort that soon. Maybe I'll just give you my PayPal and we'll go that way. So Schlossnagle will be State's next baseball coach. What is happening? All right. I believe Jim Schlossnagle will be the next coach. It hasn't happened yet. Has not happened. When it happens, I think it'll be Jim Schlossnagle. Debbie Duffel Moore says, oh no, shutting down. Where will I find you? Come on up. I am in Tennessee, but maroon through and through. I would love it if you were in Mississippi. So I am going to continue doing the show at facebook.com/The More Cowbell Show. Check that out. Are they hating because your Bulldog show is better than Georgia's? Hail State. Brad Griffith says, will Schlossnagle be the next baseball coach? Just curious. Possible? It's very possible, Brad. Thank you for the question. Hey, Brandon, if we do an extra 20 a month, will you keep Turpin Landshark? What do you think, guys? Will you work for $20 a month?
Yes.
You will work for $20 a month.
Yes.
You're getting married, so you got a moneybags husband. You don't have to worry about it. And you, well, I've seen you don't eat. You don't eat anything. Mm-hmm. You could probably live on like $15 a month.
Yeah.
How's that new car coming?
It's great.
It's great.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about the payments on that. Yeah. You gonna need a little help?
All right.
Okay. All right. Wow, 12:30 already. Time flies when you're having a moderately good time. Hey, guess what, Landshark? We're closing soon. This right here. I don't care. Are you trying to take off? What are you doing? Did somebody hit a home run in there? So what's the number one rule? No Ole Miss fans? You got it, Lip. That is not the number one rule. That's the only rule. No Ole Miss fans associated with more Cowbell once I can stand it. Once I can handle it. Once I'm in charge. All right. 12:30. The next host is sitting out there waiting to come in, being very impatient, very rude. Probably going to beat him up, even though he is a former offensive lineman in Alabama and could kill me with his finger. Mic in hand, you look like you were fixing to sing us a song. I could, Chad Mask. I'll take requests. Hey, on the last week, I'll do whatever you guys want. I don't care. Get T-shirts up for sale. Derek Myers, thank you. Hello from Abilene, Texas, Eric Burks. Brandon's going rogue, says Martin Smith. I've been rogue my whole time. My name is Brandon Walker. We're going to end it right here. We'll be back tomorrow and Thursday and a couple more weeks on SEC Country. Please, what is that? What was that? How long was that on the screen?
What happened? I missed it. You gotta get off there now.
Oh, I'm going to get off the air.
We're a minute late.
That's fine. I don't care. I was trying to get off the air. Okay. I'll take care of that. Don't worry about that. Ignore what just happened. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been watching More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country.